Your home should be your castle,
The neighborly thing to do is go introduce yourself.
keeping you safe from the outside world.
Don't get your hands off me. Understand what I said?
But sometimes your castle comes under assault.
That's when I knew I got a problem.
Your front lawn becomes a battlefield.
It's not me.
Just leave the house and just move away.
It was downhill from that day on.
Get out of the way. I'm standing.
Downhill.
And blood must be spilled to defend it.
Maximum penalty is death.
Lauderdale Lakes is a suburb that's a little bit north of Miami, and the neighbors there are working class people.
For all of us, living here really meant something.
It's a community of people who have tried to make it and have succeeded in some sense. And a lot of their pride is being able to own their own home.
Once you move into our neighborhood, you never want to leave. And Lee Macon wanted in.
When I was looking for a home, just to have a sense of accomplishment, your first home, that American dream, home ownership.
Lee spends a lot of time looking at other places, but he keeps coming back here.
It's the perfect neighborhood for me. I've always wanted to live in this area, but I never saw any for sale signs. And no for sale signs, the people must be happy if they don't move.
Finally, Lee hears a fixer-upper is on the market.
I'll never forget that day when I saw that house for the first time. I went and looked in. The house was pretty well preserved. It just needed some real updating. I saw what could be done with the home. I went and looked in the back. I saw a nice pool area.
He makes his decision on the spot.
I told the realtor it's a done deal. She said, well, I got some more to show you. I said, no, this is sold.
Lee has just taken over his family business, running a group home for disabled children. It's a high-stress job. He's looking for a refuge of peace and quiet. But first, there's a lot of work to do.
The inside had orange wall-to-wall carpeting with orange wall-to-wall drapes matching. I didn't see that. I saw nice verticals. I saw nice tile on the floor.
Moving to Lauderdale Lakes opens up a whole new world for Lee.
I was excited. People walking by, I don't even know. I'm just waving, just saying hello. Just excited. My very first home.
And then one fine day, someone decides to drop by, out of the blue.
And I hear this knock. At my door, stuff is all boxed up and on the floor, and you had to step over stuff, and I'm just moving in.
The woman is his next-door neighbor, Veronica.
I know you're gonna like it here.
This is my first home. Maybe this is the neighborly thing to do, is go introduce yourself.
Yeah, so it's
Lee has no idea. He's just opened the door to a twisted tale that will end in blood and tears. We're not exactly sure what happened along the way. It's a real he said, she said, and only one of the parties is talking. But we do know it was all smiles and sunshine in the beginning.
She worked as a dental hygienist. That's how she made her living, and she owned her home, and she took very good care of it. Her friends in the neighborhood described her as an outgoing person, a pretty good neighbor. She had a very friendly presence about her. She never bothered anyone.
In our community of couples and families, Veronica is one of the few single people. On their first meeting, the new neighbors seem to really hit it off. On the outside, Lee's a perfect gentleman.
Lee is the type of person that is kind, and when you first meet him, he carry a conversation with anyone. You enjoy just talking with him.
But on the inside, he's a little uncomfortable.
Veronica did most of the talking. I grew up very, very old school, very old-fashioned. It was kind of in the forward for a woman to come to the door of a single man. I was somewhat embarrassed.
Still, Lee soon discovers the benefits of having such a friendly person next door.
The home has a sprinkler system, and I'm like, okay, something's wrong with this. As I'm kneeling down, here comes Veronica. And she's offering her assistance. She's kind of knowledgeable of how the sprinklers work, and she takes over. And I told her, that's not necessary. I can kind of figure it out. She says, no, let me do it. I can do it. Let me do it.
Veronica also lends a hand when building materials overrun Lee's property.
Hey, hi, how are you? How you doing?
Veronica insisted that I park my truck in her driveway. And I said, it actually will be a little more convenient. That was nice.
Lee's renovations grab the attention of the whole neighborhood.
And I was like, wow, people are noticing, which is good.
It makes perfect sense that the woman next door wants to stop by for a look, even if the timing isn't great.
She came to the door and she wanted to come in. The construction workers had saws and material. He didn't want her to get hurt, and she's just walking in.
Still, any issues that surface are small and easily dealt with.
Yeah, for sure, for sure. Oh, before you go, though, think you could get those guys to take that off the lawn?
To some of us, it even seemed that the friendship might grow into something deeper.
Veronica and I laughed as friends and as neighbors.
Wow, ain't you a lovely...
I remember one day I kidded her because she was shorter than me, and I says, hello, how's my little hat rack doing? And I kind of kissed her on the forehead. She just lit up and just cracked up laughing.
Veronica claims that they're very good friends, that they talked and that they laughed together.
But the laughter didn't last very long.
A good friend of Lee's believes she sees signs that Veronica has bigger designs on him.
She would just stare. She's looking at me. I don't know why. I guess to see who I am. I felt she liked him. At first, I didn't think much of it, but then he would tell me, you know, she would come over. He wanted to be her neighbor, a nice neighbor. He wanted to be her friend, but I think she just wanted a different type of relationship with him.
The thing is, more than most of us, Lee is a man who really cherishes his downtime.
Owning a group home, dealing with people with mental disabilities is very noisy. And when you deal with that all day long, all you want is to look quiet to yourself. I didn't want any conversation. I just like that peace and quiet of just relaxing at home. That's what I always envisioned my home to be. It was my time. It was Lee's time to sit and just be still and just relax.
But Lee isn't going to get the peace and quiet he's looking for. In fact, it's the exact opposite.
And it was like someone taking their hand, their fingernails on a chalkboard and just making that screeching noise. And all I wanted her to do was take her hands off of me. It was a house, but I made it into a home.
In a quiet suburb just north of Miami, Lee Macon finds his oasis. His new home comes with a friendly next-door neighbor, Veronica. Perhaps a little too friendly for someone who values his privacy so much.
She wants to talk. Again, your first home, maybe this the neighborly thing to do is to talk.
No, I'm absolutely not.
In this cozy neighborhood, we can sometimes learn too much about the soap opera next door.
You would have been here.
She's screaming at her boyfriend, and she's screaming and yelling.
That's what you would have done. You would have been here.
I noticed people kind of kept to themselves, and for the most part were very quiet. Not Veronica.
Even when Lee's driveway is clear of construction material, Veronica keeps inviting him to park in her space. She's probably just being friendly. Lee thinks otherwise.
I was suspicious, and I'm like, what is this all about? And I says, could it be she wants that truck in the driveway for some personal reason? To make someone jealous, maybe? It is a little more than neighborly and being friends. It kind of became a nuisance. Maybe I shouldn't have started this.
Even between good neighbors, a little friction erupts.
This is a big project. Stuff is everywhere. It extended over her property, and she got very upset and came over and told our workers about it, and it wasn't too nice. They said they were sorry, and she said that you all should keep your construction on his property. And I told them, make sure everything is over on my property and nothing's over there.
But we'll take care of it.
She felt that she had the trust of a neighbor, that he would look out for her, that he would have her back.
The guy that installed the tile, he says, yeah, you might want to kind of watch her.
Lee had a great relationship with all the neighbors, but she was the only one that became a problem.
Lee begins to feel the neighborhood is becoming a little too cozy.
I felt the less said, the better. I felt that at some point I was starting to encourage it. How do you not encourage this and still be neighborly? A little embarrassed to say this, but I parked my truck at a shopping plaza and walked home. It's about 5 minutes. That way, can't see the truck, and I'm not home. Out of sight, out of mind. I wanted some me time, some Lee time, not Veronica time.
Finally, after weeks of dust and noise, Lee's sanctuary is complete.
This was my first home, and I wanted to make it a home the way I feel my home should be.
Then something happens. Or maybe it doesn't happen. We're not sure. Depends whose friend you are. This is Lee's side of the story.
I was in my bedroom watching TV. I hear the door, it clicks. I was like, whoa. Be still and just listen. And I just kind of eased the volume down on the television. And I said, someone's coming through the patio door. So I reached for my firearm.
Lee's had a gun license for years, but he never had to pull the trigger.
I wanted to identify the person to see who this was. I have these blinds that you can see out, but you can't see in. And I'm looking. Who is that? And at first I saw the stature of the person. Very short. I recognized her. This is Veronica. I'm like, what are you doing? Okay. Don't say anything. Just be quiet. Just see what she does. And then she goes, knock, knock on the glass. She didn't say anything. And I remember going back and sitting down. And I'm trying to let this digest, trying to let this marinate in my mind and compute.
He's pretty sure he knows what Veronica is thinking this night.
She was looking for me to open that door to have sex. She felt that he's single, maybe he's desperate. He's waiting for me. Maybe I'm that woman. Maybe this is destiny, him moving next door. That's when I knew I got a problem.
But is there a problem? Veronica has a totally different story. In fact, she says there is no story.
Veronica denied those allegations completely. She said she was happy with their friendship, and she enjoyed the laughter and the kindnesses that they shared with one another, and that Veronica didn't want anything sexual from Lee.
But according to Lee, a personal line has been crossed. And he's going to make sure that line will never be crossed again.
They say silence is approval. So if you don't say none, that must mean that it's okay. So the next day, I thought to myself, when you see her, first thing, make it a point to address this. We need to make things here in black and white, crystal clear. I think I had let so much build up without addressing stuff. And it just came out like a volcano.
Veronica! Veronica!
And I remember saying to her, Veronica, what was that about last night?
What? Have you lost your mind or what?
Oh, what? What are you talking about? Says, don't play games with me.
Listen, you have gone too far.
No respectable woman will come to the front door day or night.
I am calm. Believe me, this is calm.
Veronica denied it completely. She said Lee was a friend, he had always been a friend, and she had no idea where that notion came from. That's not what she wanted from him.
Neighbors were starting to look and come out. What's going on?
Lee, just calm down.
She grabs me. I didn't even realize how loud I had gotten, but when she touched me, something went, and it was like someone taking their hand, their fingernails, on a chalkboard, and just making that screeching noise.
Lee, just relax.
Get your hands off me.
And all I wanted her to do was take her hands off of me. And she comes back again. I told you to take your hands off of me. And now I'm bellowing this in the neighborhood. Do I make myself clear?
Veronica said she had no idea what he was talking about. She denies any sort of improper thing that could ever be construed as a sexual advance.
Hey, but can we just talk about
And I walked away from her.
That's all I have to say.
At that moment, I said, maybe you handled this wrong. All I'm thinking in my mind, maybe you should have been addressing things all along, and then you wouldn't have just blew up like a volcano. Did I handle this correctly, or did I just do something to really make her retaliate?
She really wanted a friendship, and if not a friendship, a sense of neighborly respect. But she couldn't get that, and it became this thing that began to slowly amplify over time.
Rain all day, getting heavier with Hurricane Wilma making
The
plans.
weather report says a big hurricane is on the way. The whole state of Florida prepares for what we know is coming. There's also a storm brewing between our two neighbors, and no one can predict what that damage will look like.
Just like someone falling off a cliff, it just was downhill from that day on. Downhill.
I'm Veronica. I'm just from Nick.
She thought they were friends.
I understand.
She thought they were good friends. She never wanted anything more than that friendship, and that was maddening for her.
Hurricane Wilma hits our community hard. But there's another storm tearing two neighbors apart, Veronica and Lee. At first, several of us thought there was romance in the air.
Just calm.
Turns out, we were wrong.
Off me.
Our relationship, the little that we did had deteriorated very fast.
For some, Wilma's aftermath is deadly. Fortunately, Lauderdale Lakes is spared the worst of it.
I remember losing my screen enclosure. The whole thing caved in. The majority of it ended up in the pool.
The pool is one of the reasons Lee bought the place. Cleaning it up will take time. But there's another kind of damage that can never be fixed.
I was in the backyard. I do remember her loud talking, saying, "That's what you get when you're not a nice person." And she started laughing. Now, she didn't actually say my name, but I remember Veronica making that comment.
What goes around comes around.
As we cleaned up after the storm, we could see the animosity between Lee and Veronica.
It did affect him, but I would tell him, you know, don't do anything, because she's doing things just to aggravate you, to bring attention to her. So don't follow up on it.
I made it a point to be out and not speak. I want to make myself visible and not speak to you. I knew that bothered her. Our relationship had took a nosedive. We were done.
The two sides didn't like each other. Both sides thought that one party wanted to hurt the other party. Lee was trying to make the case that she was a bad and untrustworthy neighbor. Veronica was also trying to make that case of Lee.
We had no idea how truly awful things would get.
It didn't take long. These instances occurred real in rapid succession, one after the other. I'll start with the pool. At that time, I had a pool service to come and do the pool. The technician said, "Mr. Macon, please tell your kids this is not a bathtub, to not use soap in the pool." I said, "Sir, first of all, I don't have any kids." And I was like, wow, who would do such a thing? That could only be Veronica. And they had to drain the pool.
But there's no proof Veronica did this, only Lee's suspicion. Then something happens to Lee's beloved front lawn.
There was a big bald spot of grass just mysteriously burnt out. And you can see some of the edges where it was cooking oil that was put there. It just obliterated the grass, just obliterated it.
None of these things could he directly point to her and say that she had done them. But given what had occurred and immediately following, he felt quite strongly it was his neighbor.
Things also start occurring at Veronica's house.
There are cable and electrical wires being cut between the two houses. Veronica alleges that Lee did that to her. The lawnman on Lee's property went a little too far and swiped parts of Veronica's lawn. Veronica started to believe those things were more deliberate than they were accidental.
She called the police saying that I cut her grass and that she had video of me cutting the grass. She's saying that I threatened her.
She's the one that you should be talking to.
The Broward Sheriff's Office tried to broker some peace between the two neighbors, but it never fully worked.
The police can't do much to ease the tension. In fact, they only make things worse.
I don't know why.
Everyone knew that these are the two houses that didn't get along, and everyone else in that neighborhood also became very involved in it.
Lee feels his sanctuary is slipping away.
I said to myself, no, she's not gonna make my life a hell. I came up with the idea of the fence.
He doesn't fence off his entire yard, just the section facing Veronica.
Veronica, I felt very, very offended, because that's a bold statement, a symbolic statement. To me as a neighbor, I would have gotten a message that apparently my neighbor does not want to be bothered. I would have took offense to a neighbor doing that to me.
And then, a tense situation gets even more complicated when Veronica gets some new company.
He didn't even introduce himself. And I didn't feel it was need for me to introduce myself.
Jerome Jackson was an imposing figure about 6'3", about 275 pounds, a big, brawny man. He was the son of a preacher, and he worked as a security guard.
The neighborhood feud suddenly just got more crowded, and it's definitely going to get uglier.
It just fireball from there, and, you know.
And he told me that I will come over there and kick your ass. I'm like Goliath with the slingshot. The bigger they are, the harder they fall.
For exclusive footage, go to investigationdiscovery.com.
They both wanted their privacy, and they both wanted to be left alone. But both Lee and Veronica thought the other person wanted a little more than that. Lee thought Veronica wanted him as a sexual partner. Veronica thought Lee wanted to destroy her life.
Lee Macon gets a new neighbor, Veronica's boyfriend, Jerome Jackson. And it doesn't take long before Jerome gets involved in their simmering dispute.
The yard workers did knock one of the sprinklers off of the socket. And when that happens, it's just a matter of taking them and screwing them back on. But this particular day,
This is just absolutely frustrating.
I hear this yelling and screaming. I'm so tired of this. I'm so tired of this. I'm sick of this. I'm tired of this. Now, here comes the boyfriend, Mr. Jackson. He comes to the door.
Jerome felt compelled to defend the rights of the woman he loved, his girlfriend.
Your yard man knocked one of her sprinklers up. I said, sir, I'll speak to the yard man. And then I closed the door.
That's not how we do it here.
He comes back to the door. I answered, I said, yeah. He says, but yeah, you as the homeowner is responsible, not the yard man.
Lee decides it's time to give Jerome his side of the story.
You want to sit out by the pool? Drinks? I'll bring you up to speed of what's really going on here. And I'll tell you just what has transpired before you got here, man to man. Apparently it didn't go over well with her.
And the war of attrition just keeps on going. Lee finds some of his plants wilted and dead.
There's something intentionally being done to these. These are being poisoned with something.
Only the plants on Lee's side of the fence have been harmed. On Veronica's side, things are thriving.
And I was like, wow, this is very, very scary here.
Without solid proof, Lee can't report Veronica to the police. But if it's come to this, his friends say maybe it's best just to pull up stakes and clear out.
I was thinking, you know, just leave the house and just move away. You don't want to think the worst, but you never know what people are thinking.
Lee isn't going anywhere. He's digging in for the long haul.
The thought came to me about surveillance cameras. It would eliminate my word against hers.
That's his protection. That is his eyewitness. And I think that was the best thing he did.
This doesn't go over well with the neighbors.
Veronica very much resented it because she felt that it was a strong statement of distrust, and it was.
According to Lee, the battle lines are being clearly marked out.
She turned the sprinklers on him while he was doing the yard. And she said, you should abide by the boundaries. She would take a weed eater and go from the back of the yard all the way out to the front, which I guess was a boundary. But she would actually dig like a trench. I don't know what's her thought process on this, but it's a deep trench, so deep that if you misstep, you would wrench your ankle.
She really felt and hoped that the trench that was dug to separate those two properties would help end this conflict. That at the end, if they could not be neighborly, at least they could respect the property lines that had been carved out.
But there's no trench deep enough to keep the two sides apart. When you're living this close together, anything can become a trigger point.
I came home one day and he had both sides of that car jacked up at one time. I was like, wow, someone is doing the bargain basement mechanics here.
Why don't you go get yourself a job so you can buy
We had a
decent
verbal
car?
altercation.
I mean, geez, you can't even afford a mechanic?
You broke and she's broke. And how I know you're broke? You're out there working on your own car.
Want to come over here and say something to me?
When you should take it to a dealership. Both of you are two broke asses over there. She dictates to you because you live there with her. I say you better man up and man up quick. And the neighbor's kids start laughing. And you can see Mr. Jackson didn't like that at all when the neighbor started laughing at him. He told me that I will come over there and kick your ass.
It went from relatively benign damaging of property to now threats of physical violence, which, you know, is a real escalation of the situation.
For the first time, Lee feels he needs real protection, and he makes a fateful decision.
Since I had a concealed weapons permit, I started carrying it all the time.
Lee has the gun on him when he next encounters Jerome Jackson.
I'm arriving home on a Thursday, and it's easy to remember what day it is because the yard people come every Thursday. And I pull up,
Hey, guys,
and
what are you doing? Standing there doing nothing.
I notice the yard crew, they're there, but they're not working.
Nothing?
And I get out and I ask, what's wrong? He said, well, her boyfriend, he's stopping us from cutting the grass. And I said, someone has to stand up to the neighborhood bully. Take a stand against the neighborhood bully.
It becomes one of these prototypical, bizarre stories of a dispute between two neighbors gone way too far.
Listen, I'll show you what to do. Look out.
What happens next not only divides the neighborhood, it splits the entire city.
See the line
Let
there?
me show you where the property line is so we can clarify this today. I took the mower straight down the property line. And the garage goes up at Veronica's house. Here comes Mr. Jackson out with his lawnmower. It's not started, it's not running. He brings his lawnmower out and puts it right in my path.
Wait.
And he says, now, keep cutting the grass. Now cut it. I dare you to cut it. What grass you gonna cut now? So,
Are you gonna do something?
he's coming up on me now talking and threatening, and I'm backing up as he's talking. Yeah, you big and bad, cut it now. He took a jab at me, he started swinging, and he's rushing up on me, he's swinging, and as he's coming to me and swinging, I'm just ducking and backpedaling, and by now he's left their property.
Mr. Macon is 5'8", 150 pounds, 160 pounds. The neighbor's boyfriend is well over 6 feet and well over 200 pounds.
I pull out my weapon and I just held it up in the air. I didn't fire. And he says, what, you gonna shoot me? You gonna shoot me now? He's just yelling that. You gonna shoot me?
You're doing nothing.
Stay back.
You're doing nothing.
Mr. Macon fires a warning shot into the air, as if to say, not only do I have a firearm, sir, it's loaded.
This is a weapon. You could lose your life. And the look in his eyes was like, I don't believe you. I think you're bluffing.
The bitter feud has reached a terrible point of no return. Only bullets and blood will end it.
And he kept coming. He just kept coming. I never fired that gun until that day.
In our quiet little suburb just north of Miami, two neighbors have gone to the brink. Now their conflict reaches its horrible climax.
He kept coming. He just kept coming.
Go home.
Lee fires a warning shot in the air, but Jerome keeps lunging at him.
You ain't gonna do nothing.
And I fired another shot, intentionally missing him. That shot went into my yard man's truck. That hole is in his truck today. Mr. Jackson rushes me.
At that point, his training, self-defense, firearms training kicked in, and the training is disable your assailant. Try to shoot in the arm, the shoulder, the leg. Just disable, try to stop the attack.
He rushes right in, and when he rushed in, I fired one, and I just went boof, boof.
When Mr. Macon was trying to aim the firearm at the shoulder, the assailant kept coming. And what we believed happened was the assailant went into the line of fire to the chest.
And he just looked at me.
Oh,
You shot me.
Oh, you shot me.
And the next thing I know, he's laying on the ground. Heavenly Father, be with me. Hear my humble cry. I warned him, but he kept coming. And I'm thinking most people would have just stopped. It's just not worth it. And I go in the house, and I called, and I says, "Ma'am, I'm calling to report. I just shot someone here on my lawn."
Yes, and I'll wait for you.
After I called 911, I went to him and I told him, "I warned you," very loudly. "I warned you. I warned you." And I walked away. I take the gun and put it on the counter where the police can find it.
By now, more of us have called the police.
I hear the police says, "Put your arms up in the air, on your knees." And he took both of my hands and cuffed me. And I thought to myself, face the consequences. Don't run. Running is a sign of guilt. I'm guilty of nothing but self-defense. You stay here and face the music. And he asked, "Where's the weapon?" I said, "It's in the house on the counter." And they put me in the car.
Our peaceful neighborhood is suddenly ground zero of an unthinkable nightmare.
It was unbelievable to me. It was a shock. I was totally in shock.
Paramedics are unable to revive Jerome. He dies in front of Lee's house. Veronica arrives home just minutes after the shooting, shocked to learn her boyfriend has paid the ultimate price for her feud with the man next door.
She was very distraught, and it was very hard for her, as I'm sure it would be hard for anyone who's lost someone they've loved.
Veronica's just limp, while two people are holding up and she could hardly walk. And there's Jerome still covered up in the yellow tarp.
Our local tragedy makes headlines all over the country.
Lee Macon, Lauderdale Lake shooter, is jailed in the BSO County Jail today on first-degree premeditated murder.
A media circus has come into the neighborhood. It was a tremendous, big story.
It started to get some national news attention, decrying the gun violence in our society. People are shooting their neighbors over property.
One instance can change your whole life. 50 years old, first time ever being in jail. I didn't sleep at all that night. Jails are very noisy.
Lee is facing life in prison, or worse.
If the state chooses to seek the death penalty, then the possible maximum penalty is death.
Lee sits in jail for an agonizing 6 weeks. A grand jury holds his fate in their hands.
Lee testified. I watched the parade of witnesses testify. Saw the lawn people go in and testify. Saw the detectives go in and testify. The neighbors that I had identified went in and testified.
The grand jury returns with their verdict after just 10 minutes of deliberation.
They lead me up to the front of the courtroom, and there's this audience of about 20-some people sitting there watching your every move. And these are the people that's gonna decide your fate today. They're gonna decide whether you go to prison for life or if you go free today.
The grand jury decided that there was no reason to charge and that he had properly acted in self-defense.
And he should be found not guilty of first-degree murder.
Reggie says, Lee, buddy, it's over. You're going home. He said, you're going home.
Veronica was in disbelief. She was angry. She felt that something was wrong if a man could take the life of another man and not be rebuked by it.
Lee is spared jail time, but the awful confrontation weighs heavily on him.
It's just senseless. If I had it to do again today, I would do the same thing. But a man lost his life, and I don't take that lightly. I feel it could have unfolded differently. I had a weapon in the air. It wasn't even pointed at you. That sounds like someone trying to give you a chance. Why didn't you merely just back up?
The feud may have faded from the headlines, but for those of us in the neighborhood, it's hard to forget. Especially because Lee and Veronica are still here.
To this day, they are still neighbors, living side by side, each and every day.
She's there next door, and I don't say nothing to her, and she don't say anything to me. So that didn't take much getting used to. It was like old hats, just routine.
Lee Macon absolutely regrets the loss of life. I know that. He's told me that. It's clear. It's a credit to his character that he is able to pick up the pieces and move on. He's working, still living in the same house, and living his life. He has come away from this with his strength and his character and his integrity.
There are two neighbors who have told two wildly different narratives about their relationship. And I don't think anyone will ever get to the heart of it.